Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving deep into the global power play over materials that, honestly, run our entire modern world. And just so you know, this analysis is built on some really solid research by engineer Abdul Rahman Mahmood. He's a principal IT and security consultant and an expert regional security analyst who's pulled together findings from all the top sources.
So let's start with a question. What in the world does a brand new EV, a giant wind turbine, and a state-of-the-art fighter jet all have in common? The answer, it turns out, reveals this incredibly complex web of global dependency that affects, well, everything, from national security right down to the phone you're probably holding right now.
And the answer is a group of materials called rare earth elements. Now, here's the crazy part. They're not actually rare at all. The real trick, and the thing that makes them so strategically valuable, is that mining them and refining them into something usable is incredibly difficult and, frankly, a pretty dirty business.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this whole thing, we're going to break it down. We'll look at why we're so hooked on these things, who's holding all the cards, and then the global scramble to find a way out.
All right, first up, let's really nail down why these minerals are so absolutely critical, not just to our daily lives, but to the entire future we're trying to build.
Just think of these elements as the secret sauce in basically all of our most advanced technology. You know those super powerful, super lightweight magnets that make EV motors and wind turbines possible? They are packed with rare earths. The sophisticated guidance systems and missiles, the sonar pinging from a submarine, the lasers and targeting pods. Yep, you guessed it, all powered by rare earths. They have become completely indispensable.
So you have to ask, how did something so essential become so dangerously concentrated in just one country? This is where a simple technical dependency spirals into a massive geopolitical risk.
You see, the real power isn't about who has the raw dirt. The real power lies in who can process it. And that's where this chart just speaks volumes. China controls a staggering 90% of the refining process. And let me be clear, this was no accident. This was the result of decades of very deliberate strategic investment.
And when you have that much market power, you can use it. Just imagine a hypothetical scenario, maybe in 2025, where we suddenly see a rapid-fire escalation of export controls. The targets here aren't just the raw materials themselves, but the actual technology needed to process them. This is way more than a warning shot. It's a strategic move to control the entire value chain.
This creates what you could call a strategic chokehold. It's brilliant, in a way. It forces companies in the US and Europe to rely on a single source, not just for the metals, but for the know-how to even use them. If you're a major automaker trying to build the next generation of electric vehicles, that is a very, very scary place to be.
But all this pressure has kicked off a really fascinating countermove. Instead of just scrambling to find new places to dig, some of the smartest engineers in the world are trying to design these materials out of our most important technologies completely.
And the electric motor has become the main battleground. On one side, you had the traditional permanent magnet motors. They're incredibly efficient, but totally dependent on rare earths. But on the other side, you've got this new wave of motors that get rid of them entirely. And just like that, you erase the supply chain risk and the wild price swings in one genius move.
And this is not just some idea on a whiteboard. BMW is already mass-producing these advanced motors. Basically, their motors use electric current to create a magnetic field instead of relying on those rare earth magnets. And the best part? They achieve incredible efficiency, proving you don't actually have to choose between high performance and strategic freedom.
But look, innovation alone isn't going to cut it. At the same time as this tech race is happening, there is a massive government-led effort to build entirely new, more resilient supply chains from scratch.
And this is a true multi-front effort. You've got the US creating strategic stockpiles with things like Project Vault. The EU is pushing through landmark laws to boost mining and recycling at home. And all over the world, countries are teaming up with allies and seriously looking into so-called urban mining, which is basically pulling these valuable metals out of our mountains of old electronics.
And we're not just talking about vague promises here. The EU's new Critical Raw Materials Act sets a really hard target. By 2030, at least 10% of the strategic minerals the bloc uses must be mined from within the EU itself. That is a huge statement about bringing this vital industry back home.
Okay, but as everyone rushes to dig new mines and build new refineries, we really have to stop and confront a very difficult truth about what it actually costs to get these materials out of the ground. Just take cobalt, for example. It's absolutely essential for EV batteries. A massive chunk of the world's supply comes from the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the mining industry has been linked to just horrific human rights abuses, including child labor in dangerous, unregulated mines. It's a stark reminder that this isn't just a technical problem, it's a deeply moral one.
And the environmental toll is just immense. Extracting and refining these minerals can cause widespread deforestation, it can contaminate water and soil with toxic runoff, and it uses enormous amounts of energy and water. So we have to ask the tough question. Are we just solving one geopolitical dependency only to create an even deeper environmental crisis?
So, the big takeaway here is that the entire global chessboard is being reset. The race is on to break this supply chain monopoly through a mix of incredible innovation and sheer political will. But it leaves us with this final, really challenging question. Can we actually build this new future without just repeating the mistakes of the past? Can we make sure it's not just secure, but also ethical and truly sustainable?
This entire explainer was built on deep research from a whole range of expert sources, including the International Energy Agency, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, and all the others you see listed here. Thanks so much for watching.